Well, it has been a day, and I want to say welcome to whomever may be out there. I see somebody said crickets. Well, yeah, it was crickets over here, but it wasn't crickets over here. We've been dealing with some pretty major things, and I want to thank each and every one of you all for your patience. And for those of you who did decide to come back, thank you so much. Today, we are going to look at the prosecutors fighting back with regards to Bill Cosby's release. Now, he did have a release message, and it says, as newly released prisoner Bill Cosby celebrated his 84th birthday on Monday by thanking supporters for fighting, quote, fighting for my freedom, the Pennsylvania district attorney slammed by the state Supreme Court for prosecuting the comedian is fighting for his reputation. Montgomery County District Attorney Kevin Steele issued a lengthy statement over the weekend defending his office's decision to prosecute Cosby in 2018. Steele also attempted to clear up what he described as misinformation over the Pennsylvania Supreme Court's decision this month to overturn the entertainer's conviction on 3 counts of felony aggravated indecent assault. Now, Steele even took on the state high court's chief justice, Max Baer, who in a TV interview aired on Sunday accused Steele and his office of orchestrating a reprehensible bait and switch, is what they're saying. Now, I'm not sure if everybody really did keep a very close eye on all of the details with this particular case, but I will tell you that if you did, then it should be a shock letter A that he was ever put in. If we're keeping our eyes simply on facts, not on conjecture, not on emotion, not on feelings, not on rumor, but just on the facts alone. So it says that here he was accused of orchestrating a reprehensible bait and switch. He said Steele's office ignored a deal struck with Cosby's former Montgomery County District Attorney, Bruce Castor. Okay, and it wasn't his attorney, I digress. It was the former District Attorney, Bruce Castor, that supposedly granted him immunity from prosecution for agreeing to give a deposition in a civil case that was brought on by Andrea Costin. Now, this is him. You see that he is out, and he's very old. He was old prior to going in. But I think everybody that is anybody that has really been watching this, I know that Shakama on YouTube was very good with keeping up with everything. He was a third-year law student, but he kept up with everything. So this is the guy, right? This is who everybody said, he's a bad dude. And hey, look, I don't know the man like that, but I do know that when I kept up with this case, page by page, I didn't understand how you could put anyone in jail based on that. Now, the one thing that did get me was, yes, they did have the documentation that showed that he did have immunity from prosecution because he agreed to give the deposition in a civil case. That was one of the things that I kept asking people. I literally kept shouting and saying, well, wait a minute. If this was the agreement, then why are we here? Really? That was the agreement. Why were we here? That was what I was trying to figure out. And unfortunately, the problem is that this is about something else. That's the only thing that I can say is the problem's got to be, it's got to be about something else. What? Who knows? But we know that it's not what they said it was about. Now, Constant is one of the multiple women who accused Cosby of drugging and sexually assaulting them. Cosby's criminal conviction stemmed from the accusations that Constant, a former Temple University employee, made against the entertainer. Cosby was convicted in April of 2018 and was sentenced to serve 3 to 10 years in prison. He was released from prison on July 2nd after serving roughly 3 of those years. Quote, since the majority decision by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court released William H. Cosby Jr. from the state prison, there has been a tremendous amount of misinformation about what actually took place in this criminal prosecution, close quote. That was from Steele. That's what he said in his statement. But he continues, Throwing further fuel on the fire was a televised interview airing this weekend by now Pennsylvania Supreme Court Chief Justice Behr, during which he labeled the prosecution a reprehensible switch or bait and switch. Steele alleges the immunity deal that Cosby supposedly struck in 2005, they say supposedly. It either is or it isn't. And there's one thing about these type of documents is that when you've seen them once and you see the stamp and you see the signature of the court clerk, personally, I wouldn't say supposedly because it's public, the fact that it was sealed. It was sealed, right? Well, they said that Steele alleges the immunity deal Cosby supposedly struck in 2005 with Castor never existed, nor was it conveyed to his office after he beat Castor in a 2015 election. They said, quote, "To be clear, prosecutors in this case did not believe that there was an agreement not to prosecute or immunity for the defendant at the time we moved forward on the case. And we do not believe it now," close quote. He continues with, "If we had believed that there was an agreement or immunity, we would not have moved forward in our attempt to bring Cosby to justice," close quote. In an interview with ABC affiliate station WHTM-TV in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Behr attempted to explain that the Supreme Court's 6-1 decision that prompted outrage from women who have accused Cosby of sexual assaults dating back to the 1960s. Well, one of those accusers was Heidi Thomas. She was a former actress who testified at Cosby's trial that he drugged and raped her in 1984. And that's what she alleges. And the justice that have made this decision have just enabled a criminal to go out without consequences, what she states. Now, we certainly find that Bill Cosby not guilty or find him innocent. What we found was what the state did was inappropriate. Cosby has maintained his innocence throughout the criminal case, and Behr said that he and 5 of his 6 fellow justices on the Supreme Court found ample evidence that a non-prosecution agreement existed between Cosby and Castor, who went on to represent former Donald Trump at his second impeachment trial. Wow. Well, Cosby, went in and admitted his illegal conduct because he had immunity, Behr said, of Cosby's testimony and Constance's civil suit, which resulted in a settlement of more than $3 million. And the Supreme Court also took what it described in its 79-page ruling as a, quote, severe and rare step of barring prosecutors from trying Cosby again on the same charges. They said, quote, "What we said is we're not going to let the Commonwealth, the state, through the district attorneys to engage in that kind of reprehensible bait and switch, and that's not to protect Bill Cosby. Nobody is sympathetic to Bill Cosby," they say. "That's to protect the 13 million Pennsylvanians against that kind of conduct." Steele countered that his office conducted an extensive search of its records and the court records looking to see if a deal was ever put into writing. And he says, quote, "Despite the extensive investigation we conducted, we found no credible evidence that Castor had ever given Cosby immunity," Steele wrote in his statement. Steele added that a 2-day pretrial hearing was held by the trial court on the alleged agreement in which Castor testified that he assured Cosby he would not face criminal charges to encourage the entertainer to testify in Constance's civil case. Steele says, quote, "The trial judge found that testimony by Castor regarding the supposed promise not to prosecute was incredible and rejected the defendant's allegations that Castor promised Cosby immunity and that he relied on it," close quote. That poor guy's face. Man, look at him. Rich guy. He noted that Cosby's appeal of the trial court's ruling was previously rejected by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court and that the state Supreme Court, both of them. Well, for the first time since the ruling, Steele said that his office is examining if any further review is available to us on this case. Meanwhile, Cosby spokesperson Andrew Wyatt who I was on a call with about a few days back, personally on a call. And I'm here to tell you that a lot of this stuff here that we're reading and that we're seeing really shows how things are so very skewed. And I'll get to that in just a moment, but let me finish here. Meanwhile, Cosby spokesperson Andrew Wyatt released to ABC News an exclusive birthday photo of Cosby wearing a long sleeve sweatshirt and emblazoned with the words "Humor me" and "Hello, friend." Cosby also sent out a birthday message to his supporters saying, quote, "On my birthday, I wholeheartedly thank you for your support. Thank you for fighting for my freedom, and thank you for staying grounded and on the case. The revolution is in the home." Now, I am going to say a few things. Again, I was on a call the other day, and his attorney, or his representative, I should say, Andrew Wyatt, was on that call. And I want to say that the term kangaroo court does come to mind. And here's what I want to ask. How would you feel if you were never, ever able to defend the stuff that somebody said against you? And I'm going to sip my coffee here because I really need it after this afternoon. I don't think that you'd feel too good about not being able to defend yourself in a way that is your right. Now, the fact is the reason why they had to let this go was because of the fact that, letter A, it should have never gone into the direction that it did. Anthony Van Zandt, hello to you. It should have never gone in the direction that it went, simply because the original situation was that there was an agreement in place, and that's what immunity deals are for. Now, let's also look at it like this. This is now 2021. The ball started rolling on this for, some time ago. But even when the ball started rolling, the creepy piece is that these were old situations, one of which I brought up on the call that we were on the other day. And that I said was this, I made this statement. Hey, one of the women that was an accuser in this case, she was actually in a magazine spread. She was actually a woman that he openly had a relationship with, and there was no secret to that. They had, pretty much handled that business. His wife has stood behind him, as so many of us wives had when our husbands have been out there. I mean, there's some women who've decided to get the divorce. There's others who, like her and myself and others, who've decided to say, well, you know what? Darn it all, I'm just going to deal with it. And she did. And she was well aware of this other woman and the other situation that happened, and they resolved everything. But this lady literally changed her last name as well as her appearance, and her daughter had been up on some type of alleged charge of trying to get money out of him. Okay? And so keeping all of that in mind, she literally was one of the women who were paid, in my opinion, to be in this magazine spread to say, hey, he's a bad guy and this is what he did to me. But it was the same woman he was in an open relationship with. When I say open, I mean that had been made, they had knowledge of it. There was knowledge made of this relationship. And so it really, to me, seems like if you say you want to own NBC, if you say you want to own a part of a sports league or a sports outfit like he did, then yeah, you're going to have some problems if you are of a specific, a specific shade. And that's exactly what this was. Okay. Whomever it was that didn't want him to do whatever he did, as well as possibly maybe some people that he had made mad back in the past. I don't know. I know that he told a lot of black boys to pull their pants up. I know that. I don't know that angered a lot of people. I know that he told a lot of black folks to stop having babies without being married, or at least in a committed relationship, or at least making sure that if you are, that you're taking care of your kids. I know that. And I do also know that he's about some of the only people that are left that will actually get on our youth and tell them to get their lives together. I do know that. I do know that. And I do know that in light of everything that we've seen just recently, that possibly is a reason why he probably ticked a lot of people off. There were not a lot of people out there that want people to get their lives together. And I'm going to be honest with you. Last week, when on the other channel, they decided to take that down and, give me these harsh words and everything. And I've now been combing this particular platform looking for things that are similar to what I said, or perhaps maybe even worse than what was said, or more egregious. I have to say, there's a problem if you're standing up for the people that look like you. Somebody said crickets earlier when I wasn't in the room earlier on the day, so I say crickets now. Crickets, yeah. When you are standing up for your people, not saying that he was perfect. Let me make sure that I lay this down right now. I'm not saying this man is perfect, and I don't think he or his wife ever said that he was perfect. That's not what I'm saying at all. I want to remove that whole piece out the way. Whether he did the things that he did with these women consensually or not consensually, I don't have a heaven or hell to put this cat in. But what I will do is, out of his character, exegete the things that I know that he's done and said publicly to help his culture. I will highlight those things because it's inevitably apparent that if you stand up for your people or chastise them, that you get punished. I just got punished. I just told people, why are you guys buying the fact that they put it in the app and make people dance around and now it's okay? Because I speak out and say, that's not cool. I don't think you should do that. That's not right. So you get punished when you are trying to cajole people to see you in a better light and live and tell people to be better. Every time you turn around, we're jumping up dancing somewhere. So if they take this down, y'all know what? It's all good. But the fact is that our culture is in turmoil. And I know for a fact this man distinctly said in large platforms, he's told black men, pull up your pants. Don't have kids if you can't take care of them. Stop just dropping children everywhere you go. Get you some education and make something of yourself. Okay? Get some education and make something of yourself. But if we're not here making a buffoon of ourselves, if we're not on these type of websites showing our behinds and acting buffoonery or laughing or acting stupid or, insulting one another with physical violence and things of that nature. And we have pointed those things out as well. Please believe that we have. If we're not acting in that fashion, it seems as if we're a problem. If I tell people to get their act together, then I'm a problem. And I have seen him publicly say, get your education, take care of what you do, be responsible for your actions. I don't know, maybe once he got old, he got to that mindset, because he clearly, honestly admitted the stuff that he had done. Now, I tell you, if you guys really go back and follow all of the stories and not just the stuff that you've seen public, that they wanted you to see, go back and look at the court documents that's easily attainable. Excuse me. Go back and get that. Go back and read that. And if you do it, I want you to tell me how you can still say this person is guilty of X, Y, or Z when one woman specifically got up on the stand and admitted that she lied. And they still added her to the pie. There is a problem here. We are living in an upside down world. It's exactly where we are. We are in upside down land. And so with that, I would say, yeah, they're pushing back. They're upset. A lot of people are angry. A lot of people. But there he is. 84 years old. Will probably never try to purchase anything the size of NBC again, nor any other franchise sports team, which was exactly after this happened. So with that said, we do have a little bit more of the entertainment news, not necessarily dealing with Mr. Cosby, but there was a California approval that was given just recently, a $330 million extra for Hollywood Okay, California set to approve a $330 million extra in Hollywood, for Hollywood, just for them to get extra money. Let's look at that because I think it's quite amazing. California, what's going on with you guys? What's going on? Let's see. Let's find out because to me, y'all don't look like y'all got a lot of money to be blowing on stuff like this, but let's just go ahead and look at it. This was done 19 hours ago. And yeah, California is set to approve a $330 million extra for Hollywood, including a new soundstage incentive. Now, I know, and you probably know, that the new Hollywood is actually Atlanta. Yeah, the new Hollywood has been upgraded to Atlanta, and I say upgrade very loosely. But nonetheless, it says, well, that escalated quickly. In May, Governor Gavin Newsom announced an extra $30 million. That's just $30 million for the state's film and TV tax credit program. Not to be outdone, the legislature offered $180 million over 2 years. Okay? Now, the two sides have reached a compromise of $330 million, and that includes the $180 million plus a brand new $150 million tax incentive to spur construction for 2 new sound stages in that state. Quote, I'm very excited, Senator Anthony Portantino said, who represents the Glendale and Burbank, very nice areas. I don't know what they look like now. They used to be really nice. Glendale and Burbank, and who pushed the construction incentive. He continues, he says, if we build more capacity, that leads to more productions and more jobs and more taxes for their state and that county and that city and all the rest of that. So he goes on to say that the new money is on top of the $330 million in tax credits that the state already provides to Hollywood each year. The windfall comes as the state is spending a record-breaking $75 billion budget surplus, including billions for homelessness, social services, and education. Now, we just did a story on the other channel dealing with this right here, this whole topic of the homeless and social services. To me, it seems like that's just a name that they're throwing at a problem. They're just throwing it at the problem. And I think they're making people believe that this is where this money's going. Because if you guys remember the story we did on the Lockhart Perspective, we were discussing the fact that their sheriff was saying, that's it, we're done. We're not going to play Mr. Nice Guy anymore. If you guys are not going to put the money where your mouth is, government, then there's a problem. Because he found himself, as well as his staff, having to sort of babysit with the homelessness situation out there. They had built some houses, but I think they only placed like a handful of people compared to what they had built or what they had funding for. So the story goes on to say that the tax credit bill was unveiled on Sunday night and is expected to pass both houses and get Newsom's signature. The bill also requires production that benefit from the soundstage credit to submit a diversity plan. Here goes, and spells out that the plan shall include goals that are broadly reflective of California's population in terms of race and gender. Okay, calm down and woosah, Felicia. You can do it, girl. You can do it. You can come back to it, but you can do it. The language goes further than previous state efforts on diversity, which have generally focused on data collection and incentivizing job training programs. And in the past, lawmakers have feared that anything that could be construed as a quota would run afoul of Proposition 209, the constitutional amendment that outlaws affirmative action in the state. Which is exactly where I was going. Okay, you're doing good, sister. Thinks to herself slowly, breathe, mama. Okay, I'm all right. It continues with a quote here. They say that we want to be constitutional, and we think we are. Portantino said, by having the productions initiate their own plans, I think that's an outstanding solution to the problem. No, that sounds like you're interfering where there probably is no problem. Listen, I gotta butt in now. I just can't take it anymore. I've got to say something. Yeah. So here's the deal. Everybody that is anybody that is in Hollywood that's going to go up for a job, they are already there. And it doesn't matter what their shade of skin is, and it doesn't matter who they lay down with their set I do to. They're already there. So what is the issue? Why are we now having this issue where we've got to make sure that we are remembering stuff that's already done? Okay, Anthony Van Zandt says, hit the button for you. And this kid looks like Lucy trying to silence the word on the day when really he's got his hands full with Fifi. Little street soul. Oh, wow. You know, it's just, I just look at stuff like this and I'm just so amazed that we're constantly having to drag an issue. Here you go. Here's the button. Here's the button. There you go. There you go. It ain't nobody but me and my baby, Mr. Van Zandt. We're having a darn tootin' time. But I just want to say, you know, it just seems to me like every time you turn around, we've got to deal with stuff that doesn't exist. And now here's the deal. The whole deal that barred affirmative action, they're circumventing a way to get around something that's already a law there. Maybe we can cajole them to think it up on their own. Maybe we can get them to bring it up and talk about it on their own. Really. Anybody that deserves a job in California that's in that field, all they got to do is apply for the job, take the best person for the job with the best resume, or do like you always do and take the people that you know. Because that's where the old phrase, it's not what you know, it's who you know, came from there in California. That's exactly where it came from. Came from the entertainment industry. You know what I'm saying, Anthony? It came from the entertainment industry. We used to always say, it ain't what you know, it's who you know, which means if you sing like Aretha and you look like Mariah Carey but don't have Mariah Carey's vocal talent, and you know somebody, and you don't got Mariah Carey's vocal talent, just how she looked, you could get the job just because you look like that. But fortunately for us, Mariah Carey is off the chain, vocalist extraordinaire. My example is simply because I needed you to get an idea of what the person looks like. You can sing like Aretha and look like Aretha. But if you know somebody and you look like Carey, but you can't sing like Carey or Aretha, you're going to get the job. Why? Because the old saying was, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So why are they making it an issue? They're in California dealing specifically with this deal here. Why do you got to bring this type of stuff up all the time? Why am I harping on it? Because I just did a story over on Patreon that I could not even finish because the whole entire story was filled and riddled with people's wokeness. Their lack of wokeness. Yeah, that's right. So I just can't understand it. So we want to be constitutional, it says, and we think we are. By having the productions initiate their own plans, I think there's an outstanding solution to the problem. But you want them to supply the plan to you. It goes right up here is where it says the language goes further than previous state efforts on diversity, which have generally focused on data collection and incentivizing job training programs. And in the past, lawmakers have feared that anything that could be construed as a quota would run afoul of Proposition 209, the constitutional amendment that outlaws affirmative action in the state. So you want them to give you a plan that circumvents the constitutional amendment number 209 that outlaws affirmative action in your state. Make that make sense. Somebody please make it make sense. Even on the replay, make it make sense. It says other states and countries are hard at work trying to court this industry, and they've had some success. That comes from Robbie Hunter, the president of the Building Trades Council, and the Entertainment Union Coalition president, Tom Davis, in a joint statement. Quote, in California, we cannot afford to lose any more blue-collar, middle-class jobs. We are going to ensure that this industry stays where it is, where it was born and where it belongs. And we are determined to grow it with our efforts. Close quote. Really. Oh, boy. You know, I think I'm just going to resort to talking about flowers and flower pots and pottery and, oh, what else? Clouds in the sky. But then again, you know me, I'll find truth in some falsehoods in that. It's really getting to where silence is golden. I am really amazed that the contradiction is okay. So let me ask this question. Is it possible that there are some people there in California that really do give a rip? And maybe some of these quotes are from some of those people who really give a rip. And we're seeing the actions of a few that look like they don't give a rip. Sips coffee while you answer. Is it possible? I think it might be possible. I think it very well may be possible that this guy thinks and believes what he said. I think if you sit down and you talk to a lot of people out there, which I have, I think there's a lot of people who knows that there's something wrong, but now they're landlocked. They can't get out. Even though they got all that water around them, they can't get out. They can't get out because they can't afford to leave. They can't even afford to get enough money together to leave. Because before they could leave, they'd be homeless trying to get out. Wow. To get out, they would be in trouble. But California has been a test dummy to see how you take over a country, one state at a time. That is my phrase. I have said it for years. I will stand by that. So now they have all of this money. And the Union Coalition President, Tom Davis, as well as the other cat, they just want to keep it right where it is. But you got these southern states now that are really catching up to Hollywood. Because all you got to do is go to Florida, and all you got to do is go to Atlanta. And if you're in Atlanta, all you got to do is go to the area now where they've now stuffed a whole bunch of pine trees. And you can recreate any Los Angeles street minus the homeless people and minus all the filth and the trash. You can now do that. You can do it now. You can do it in a lot of other states. So it looks like, it almost makes you hope that whatever it is that they've tried to do so that they could take over out there, just, what's the old song? Backfires, your plan, my man. Backfires in your face. I hope it backfires. That's what I hope. I hope it just backfires in their faces. I really do. I hope whatever it is that they planned out there to try to take over just backfires. Yeah, I do. That's what I want. I grew up out there. I graduated from school out there. I just want it to be over with, I say. It's exactly what I want. I don't want any of them to win whatever it is that they're trying to do when they're trying to take over and do all the stuff that they're doing. So yes, I do hope that it backfires. I said it. Here, take this phone and go that direction. I'm live. That's what happened. So yeah, take it and beat it. So it's just, and that's just how I feel. That's just how I feel. I just really wanted to just, hey. Sometimes you don't want to know who you know. Careful what you dream for. Air dreaming at all. Going with faith. And hashtag woke, aka sleepy as hell's caretakers. That is a good one, Anthony. Rachel Van Zyl, hey. Yeah, so I just got to tell you, I'm looking at everything going on in California, and I'm like, I just don't understand it. Yay, faithful sister Rachel. Gonna send you some of these razor sharp pencils, and if you remember that night he said, talking about he's over in the corner doing the pencils, sharpening the pencils. That was hilarious that night you said that. But here's the deal, you guys, and I'm just being very honest. I understand that California is able to do this, okay? So now they're set to approve this $333 million, okay? This extra money they're setting aside specifically for this Hollywood deal. But who's really behind it? You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of money. And California is in a lot of trouble right now. And it appears that they don't give two rips about the people. They really, really do not, man. I mean, they messed over their people. Let me see if we can find the story. They messed over their people with regards to the whole unemployment thing and Bank of America. Bank of America then decided, let me just back up out of this unemployment or this EDD fiasco. California and their EDD trouble. These folks were not getting their money. They were not getting their money. It was being said that they got their money and they didn't. And people were now being billed for money that they should never have gotten, that they never requested. And there was trouble. And there was trouble with the Bank of America. Because Bank of America said, we're done. There's a lot of folks that did not get their money. A lot of people. So they had that trouble. Now they're supposed to be getting rid of the guy, hopefully in September, but I don't see that happening. Here it is. There we go. Bank of America's dysfunctional relationship with EDD. And so when I look at the story and I'm looking at how much money they've gotten, my question is, where did that money come from? How you get that money? Is that part of the money that was supposed to be gone to the EDD for the people's payments? So a lot of people, now they're not getting the money. So now what's going to happen? What's going on with them? Well, this site can't be reached, it says. But now what's going to happen? Are these folks going to have some way to be repaid because of the people who were not able to get their money? There are people who were not able to get their money. What happens now? Now that it's all over, now that you're not giving anybody anything extra, now that the whole extra money thing is done. Let's see what this has to, let's see what we got to say here.
Their contract, EDD had all the power.
This unemployment fiasco takes a surprising turn. The Employment Development Department, or EDD, just renewed its deal with Bank of America. But after more than 10 years of that exclusive contract, the bank wants out. NBC4 I-Team consumer investigator Randy Mack joins us live with what appears to be a very dysfunctional relationship. Randy.
That may be putting it mildly, Carolyn. In fact, this is just an example of how bad things are at EDD, because Bank of America has actually had a contract with the agency since 2010, and during the pandemic alone, it's actually made about $47 million in fees helping to make payments to Californians struggling with unemployment during this pandemic. But if the bank had it its way, it would end that relationship immediately.
But the decision to extend EDD's contract with Bank of America for another 2 years wasn't up to Bank of America. Per their contract, EDD had all the power to unilaterally make the decision to extend the contract, and this week they did, over objections from Bank of America, which says it has lost hundreds of millions of dollars on the contract in the last year and taken a reputational hit for its affiliation with EDD and the rampant fraud that's happened during the pandemic. It's estimated that $31 billion in benefits have been lost to fraud. Bank of America has been sued for freezing 230,000 accounts suspected of fraud since last October. The I-Team asked Bank of America about its wish to end its business relationship with EDD, and in an email, the bank responded. Under the contract, the state had the sole option to extend and chose to do so. We have advised the state that we would like to exit this business as soon as possible. In the meantime, we will continue to administer the unemployment payments and meet the requirements of the contract. The I-Team asked EDD for a response to Bank of America publicly stating it no longer wants to do business with the agency. EDD says, to help ensure continued service to claimants, EDD has exercised its right under the existing contract with Bank of America to continue providing debit card services. Additionally, to improve card security, EDD is working with the bank to implement chip-enabled debit cards. EDD also says it's working to identify vendors who can provide direct deposit for benefit payments.
And while all the drama continues to play out between EDD and Bank of America, the EDD is actually going to get some help because it's still struggling just to answer phone calls. And recently, the 80 assembly members of the California legislature have gotten approval to hire 2 employees each just to answer phone calls and emails that have not been answered by EDD by claimants. So if you are having an issue trying to reach EDD about getting certified or getting your claims paid, you have claims that are pending, you want to contact your local assembly member and have them escalate your claim. Reporting live in Chino Hills, I'm Randy Mack for NBC4 News.
Randy Mack looked like he can do some real good barbecue down there in California, and I can say it. He looked like he can barbecue. So that was part and parcel of their issue. Here is another. Let's see. They were actually...
We begin tonight at 7 with that surge in COVID infections in LA County. The health department...
Yeah, I don't want to hear that story. There was another story that I had, and you know how these things are. They sort of wheel away and then you can't get them. But what I am going to say is this. Every time you turn around, they were having the issue with people who were not supposed to receive these benefits. But here's the deal. There was something awry in the majority of the states that have a surplus of unemployment monies systems, because there are a bevy of people who never even applied for unemployment who are now getting requests to repay unemployment monies that they never received nor requested. Let that sink in. California is one of those places. So where's the money? Where's the money, honey? We don't know. But Hollywood seemed to come up on this $300 billion to do some stuff with, so I don't know. I really don't know. California has come up with some extra coinage, and some of that extra coinage is not nice. So now, in tandem with California making sure that for the $330 million extra for Hollywood, in tandem with them coming up with that, okay, and asking that there be diversity and that people be paid fairly as far as being, making sure that they have the right gender choices and that they've got the right complexions and all that other stuff, why are skilled women in Hollywood and California only making $16 an hour? That's a good question. Why? Why are women in skilled Hollywood jobs making $16 an hour? And it goes on to say that if Hollywood is serious about diversity and equity, Marissa Shipley says the industry needs to get serious about how it pays the women that rank among the industry's lowest earning workers on film and TV sets. Shipley is an art department coordinator who has worked for 18 years on TV shows like ABC's Roseanne and serves as the vice president of the IATSE Local 871, which represents the ADCs along with art production coordinators, writers, assistants, and script coordinators. These positions, while not as high profile as department heads or writers' rooms, are key. They are key positions in production and can help find the next generation of screenwriters and production designers. They're also the positions that are predominantly held by women. Shipley says that a study commissioned in 2018 by the IATSE 871 called Real Equity shows that workers in these positions are paid an average of $16 to $17 an hour, below the living wage in Los Angeles. Even with years of experience, it's also a hard reality that Shipley herself has dealt with despite many years of experience in the business. Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, there she goes. There they go. It's this quote, "In the entertainment business, we jump from project to project, and we're supposed to have downtime to take care of family and recover mentally and physically after weeks of work days that are 12 hours or more, but that downtime is taken away when you get paid so little. I personally jumped directly from one job to the next consistently, and that is at an unstable pace. But this is the only way for me to get out there and pay the rent with an hourly wage. And it goes on to say that if there's any time for a change, it's now. The IATSE is in the midst of talks on the new basic agreement with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Productions or Producers, which represents Hollywood studios, as the existing contract is set to expire at the end of July. Talks were scheduled to resume July the 6th, but were postponed as the AMPTP is currently in talks with all major Hollywood guilds about potential changes to the industry's COVID-19 safety protocols. Okay. Meanwhile, good luck trying to pay that rent out there. It goes on to say that because of the ongoing nature of the talks, the IATSC and the AMPTP declined to comment for the story. That's the story we're reading right here. But the local 871 is using the talks to raise awareness of the pay disparity issues its members face through the IA Living Wage. It's a hashtag. Hashtag IA Living Wage social media campaign, which started as a single day of hashtag boosting, has now grown into a weeks-long series of personal stories on social media that has engaged members from various IATSE locals, as well as members of the Writers Guild. Historically, script coordinators and art and production coordinators were among the first roles to open to women on movie sets aside from the camera actresses. The IATSE 871 being founded in 1958 to represent script clerks, or as they were once known in a male-controlled industry, script girls. But today the positions represented by the 871 have grown well beyond just assistants and directors and writers, and have become key to ensuring that the transition from pre-production to shooting happens smoothly. There's a quote here, and it says, quote, "Script coordinators need to make sure that there are no errors in the script or that the communication about the scene details to the production team." Now, let me say this. This would mean that these individuals that have this job, this is not the article, this is me. If this position, the script coordinators need to make sure, is what they're saying, that there are no errors in the script or that the communication about the scene details to the production team. So there's nothing wrong with the script or in the communication about the scene details to the production team. That means that these folks are pretty vital. So if you don't get paid, does that mean that if they jack up something right quick and put the wrong word in a scene or put something wrong as a direction to the production team, that there's a problem? Yeah, I think so. But here's the deal. I'm going to stop this story right here because I already see the writing on the wall. I'm going to tell you guys what the problem is. The problem is, hey, Mark Schumann, the problem is that women, we've painted ourselves into a corner. I don't know how many times it seems like when I started saying that long ago, now I'm saying it every single other day. Here's the deal. Really, here's the deal. And it's twofold, but I'm going to go ahead and put this on, put a little knob on this one. Just put a little knob right quick. Here's the skinny. We women, I have to include myself in this even though I had nothing to do with it, but I'm a female. So here's the deal. Women have stood up for this quote unquote fake need for equality so much that they've pushed themselves out of jobs. They've pushed themselves out of this whole equality piece. They've pushed themselves into a corner because now, sister girl, you stood up for everybody else and what you thought was a problem for yourself. Okay? Now these people are pushing you out of the way and you ain't gonna have no job. It's the same thing that I mentioned about the whole girls running against people that are not necessarily born like them. Everybody and their mama that I know in Los Angeles was standing up for everybody else other than just doing their gig and not, if they didn't get on the soapbox in the first place, I wouldn't be saying this. But it's the fact that they got up on that soapbox and they started saying equality, equality, equality. And they kept on saying that, but they didn't know that the people who were pushing them to say it did not mean them. They meant exactly what America's being turned into right now today. Exactly what you see right now is what they meant. And now, what is the problem? Now you have $330 million being doled out to an industry that just publicly said, okay, we want it to be fair and equitable, but now you got the government giving them the money saying, even though we know we have this proposition that says that it is illegal for us to have a, what is the thing that they had, we want to make sure everybody gets a job. Well, now they've gotten rid of affirmative action. So we don't want anybody to use the term affirmative action, but what we want to do is get some monies. We want to get some bids from some of these companies to see exactly how bad they want to be here. And so we want them to tell us what they plan to do as far as diversity is concerned. Well, isn't that the exact same thing? That's exactly the same thing. When you say we're not going to make you give us we don't want to do any quotas because that goes against our Constitution here in the state of California. But what we do want you to do is we want you to tell us how you would implement X, Y, or Z. Well, now you're going to be sitting up there looking for somebody. Maybe maybe it's a boom worker, and maybe the boom workers are less. You only have a handful of really good boom workers. You don't have the big boom hanging down in the middle of a TV shoot. And maybe you got a really good boom worker, but because this other person is not necessarily as good as this cat over here, but because they come from a specific letter in the alphabet, or a group of clustered alphabets, now all of a sudden, because of this unspoken word, now this person's going to get the job over the person that was skilled. This is the exact same thing that was happening with black folks back in the day. Don't give me the job because I'm black. Give me the job because I'm the best at the job, regardless to my shade. But now the women, you've been running around here telling everybody equal, equal, equal. And now they're equaling you right out of the job because you still making the $16 and $17 an hour that y'all should have been making 20 years ago. In California, the rent is exceptionally high. Exceptionally high. You're not going to get any. I showed you guys how much those houses are going for out there. And I told you that usually money speaks when it comes to a community. When it comes to a community, money usually speaks to the mayor. Money speaks to the governor, or money speaks to the councilman who has to be reelected. But they don't even give a rip about the money out there now. They don't care how much money the business brings in. They do not care. You saw that in the piece that we did on the Lockhart Perspective when we were specifically talking about how many people were homeless in the Venice Beach area and how it was affecting the businesses and the homeowners there. And we showed you those $1.5 million homes that as soon as you walk out your sliding glass door to take in a nice whiff of beautiful air that's coming from the breeze, blowing on the skin of you and your husband, you guys stand out there and you take in a deep breath, and it's the smell of human excrement because some homeless cat is laying in the front of your patio. You paid $1.5 million to inhale poop, partner. That's a problem. That's a problem. And so it's the exact same deal. You're not making enough money to deal with it. They don't care about money. There's another agenda there. $17 an hour is basically what they're making. And the housing there for a 3-bedroom house is astronomical. A singles in a decent neighborhood is over $3,000. I kid you not. So the deal is there is an underlying issue. There's an underlying. They want that. They want that whole place. And they don't understand the resilience of Americans. Whoever it is possibly going to have to show their face quicker than nothing. They're going to have to show their face in a minute, you guys. You know why? Because the resilience of Americans. We are resilient, baby. We'll figure out a way to make some money to help us take care of some bills. And so what they're going to do is end up having to show their face in California because Californians that are still there ain't letting go. And the truth's going to be exposed. Yeah, they're doing something. So now you got unemployment saying B of A, of all people, is crying uncle. Of all people, Bank of America is actually crying uncle, telling them we want out of unemployment. We know you guys just reinstated our agreement with you, but we want nothing to do with it. Please let us out. Please. We just, please. They doing the, what is his name? James Brown? Please, please let me go. They want out. It's bad all the way around, but it's really bad in California. So they've got that up in a nice little knot. All right. $330 million. They're going to give it to California. They want diversity, and they have publicly stated that now all they want to happen is for somebody to just hire the people they want. Let me tell you guys something. I said this and I want you guys to remember, because I'm going to keep saying it and you're going to remember it. I believe that there is the agenda to completely take all normal away. All normal. I want to ask Rachel, did you get a chance to go to Patreon today? I think you did, didn't you? You went to Patreon today. You saw what I talked about there and on Patreon. I can't even mention it here. It's a doggone shame. Normal people got to shut up. Mark Schulman says, Rachel Van Zyl, yes, feminism is weaponized to destroy the family. Absolutely. Black Lives Matter was a big part of that. I agree, Mark. Rachel says, stock up on bleach, yuck. There is one more thing I can admit about the enemy. He is beyond brilliant. It's kind of terrifying if one did not realize our Father is in charge. It just reeks of a hidden third party, thus confusing the masses, spin on top of topsy-turvy ulterior motive spin. Less faith cause the human spirit will for always have its say. So let me tell you guys, I just feel like this. Once upon a time, we had a United States that had a story that was not necessarily a good one. And once upon a time, America worked out the atrocities that it had committed. Once upon a time, America decided that, okay, it's time for us to stop doing these bad things. And, well, they did it. But they couldn't remove the history of who they were. And so there remained several statues, monuments, photos, paintings, pictures to remind them of their past. Now, some would say that that memory of the past is something that was not good. And others would say, even though it happened to my people, please let it remain. Don't remove it. Because if you remove it, the opportunity for us to repeat it is great. And so I myself said, leave every statue where it stands. Do not remove it, because my people are so far removed from the truth that they will never understand that at one point in life, others had them imprisoned. But now the direction they're going, they're imprisoning themselves. Please don't remove Patton. Don't remove any of these people. Leave them where they stand. Now the plot twisted after 2000 and I want to say about 14. The goal was even more revealed, that it was not only to remove those statues and busts of different people who have fought in the war. What it was to replace it. If you do a very swift review of any battle, there are a few elements of taking over the geographical region of the person that you just beat. And what they do is they come in, they take over. After they take over, they remove all of the statues from the previous owner, and then they put their flag in the ground, declaring that they not only won, but now they have taken over. Systematically, they have ridden on the backs of civil rights in this country, not just to remove all those statues, but to remove civil rights and replace it with the elemental P, QRST, UVWXYZ rights. Very soon, which could be even 20 years from now, we will not even remember civil rights. We will not. because that plight will be changed. They will remove sentence by sentence every piece that had anything to do with civil rights, and they are going to replace the plight with people LGB, elemental P, QRSTUVWXYZs, and they are going to replace us in the story with the likes of individuals who were passing counterfeit 20s. Those will be the now dead heroes. No more will it be Medgar Evers. No more will it be Martin Luther King. No more will it be even Malcolm X. No more will it be any of those individuals, but it will be people who were murdered while doing things they shouldn't have been doing, and everybody involved was wrong. But now they're going to hail these cats as heroes, and I say, please don't do that, but it doesn't matter, because it's my category of age that they want abolished. At every turn, they want to silence anyone with wisdom within a people. That goes whether you're white, black, purple, green, yellow, orange, Italian, doesn't matter who you are. If you speak wisdom to power, to making sure that people do the right things, you're not going to be very liked. So with that said, every single person who has stood up for something, unless it was the Father, unless it was for saying what's the difference between right or wrong, is going to rue the day that they ever rooted on anything opposite of what is right. They're going to rue the day. We're not going to remember slavery, because the slavery that they have put now is the enslavement of the mind. So there'll be no reason to even show or even go back to the fact that we had Jim Crow laws here, that we had all the, you don't even need to go back to any of that, because now you have now enslaved that group of individuals by their mind, because they have actually been the people who have been pushing all of these insane things. These very same people hanging from trees, these very same people are now being groomed to sharpen and train their replacements. And they don't have your best interests at heart. They just got through singing a song to tell you that they want your kids and everything in between. So with that said, I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me. We had some stuff going on where I was not able to be here earlier, and I thought about pushing the time back, and then we got wrapped up into some more stuff and I forgot to pull the time back again. Well, here we are, right? It's all good. It's all good. Yeah. So you have yet to see it. That's what I'm talking about, sis. And here's what's going to happen. All the people who are going to keep thinking, see, there's people right now that are upset with the seated president for saying, you said you was going to come talk to us and you ain't came and talk to us. And we need an audience with you. How come we haven't been able to get you to come say nothing to us? Because, baby, he don't need you. He did whatever he needed to do to use you to get where you are, to get where he is. And if it is an audience with you, it'll be a quasi-audience with the laughing hyena that he sends out everywhere. That's all she does. She's a laughing hyena. She's a laughing hyena. Maybe she is black, because black is not a place. I'm not black. I'm an Indian, born here. Yeah. So he'll probably send her out to make her feel like she's important, because they love to tap dance for her and they love to tap dance for everybody else. But see, I'm going to tell you something. This is not going to be easy to swallow. But in a second, black folk are going to be right back where they started, because they did not stand up for what they should have been standing up for, which was righteousness and truth. They lost their savor. And when you don't stand up for righteousness and truth, and you sit up and pack out our church house every single Sunday, you got a problem. There's a problem here. There's a real problem here. And we are at the helm of it. I don't know whether y'all know it or not, but black folk, they have made black folk the reason. Yep. Black folk are the reason. You can't say anything. You can't say one word about something that's done wrong, if it's done by somebody who they consider to be black. I appreciate you guys. Thank you all for being here at TLP Entertainment. Sort of difficult to do these stories and not be me. So I don't know how long I'm gonna be on YouTube's. I really don't, even after this thing comes up, because this is the second time, and for me, I just cannot not be me. I just cannot. I can't lie. I don't know how to play to get along. I really don't. I don't know how to play to get along. I wish I did. I don't think I do. I've always been oddball, so it's all good. But in any case, the problem that I have now is the fact that it slowed. Doesn't slow the truth from coming out. Listen, let's go ahead and run it down. Excuse me. You guys can catch us on Brighteon. You can catch us on, Brighteon. I said it. You can catch us there. You can catch us on Rumble. You can catch us on Library. You can catch us on, what is the other one that starts with a B? Another one that starts with a B. I forgot. There's Brighteon. There's BitChute. Yeah, BitChute. You know, BitChute is pretty friendly. BitChute has been very friendly as far as being able to upload really easily. Library has been okay. It's just some of them, but a lot of stuff gets buried a lot of times in some of these places. But nonetheless, you just look up Felicia Lockhart or the Lockhart Perspective. Felicia Lockhart or the Lockhart Perspective, and you'll find some stuff. But yeah, so we're just chugging away. Just chugging away. But I love all of you guys, and I like the few because I'm the Gideon type chick. I love the few of us. I love it when it ain't but 4 or 5. That's all good. That's all good to me. That's all good. I don't need it to be a million folks. Just as long as a couple of us get it. And what I love about the fact that the word even tells us that where there are two or more together, gathered together in his name, as you all know, I dedicate everything I touch to him. But 2 or more gathered together in my name, he says, there I am in the midst. And he loves when we love on him. So, because of that, I'm happy it's just the 4 of us. Okay. All right, y'all. Listen, we're going to get out of here. And I cannot close this out just because this is not the Lockhart Perspective. I got to tell you that it doesn't matter, because what's in my heart is the truth no matter where I am. And that is that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High. Thank you guys so much for being here. And that's about it. Y'all be good. Take care of yourselves and take care of one another. Remember, I love you so much. Okay? Mark, thank you for being here. Anthony, Rachel, thank you. And y'all take care.
Lockhart Perspective.